Welcome to the Mayo Experience. Week 11 spread picks, previews, super locks. No more Survivor. We're all out. That ended like weeks ago. And we'll get Tim's free money teaser at the end. Joining me in studio, it is Geoff Fienberg. What's up?
Hello, hi.
Did you enjoy the end of the Chargers game, which took 80 hours last week?
It was, as you know, I'll be honest, it was as bad a loss as, it was as hard to take as any. And there have been a lot of bad ones. I don't want to talk about it.
Now,
I'm so distraught.
Okay.
Like, I'm not going to lie. It really gets me. And I can't believe how hard the guys played. And just to lose again, just... Please. Hold on, though.
You're hashtag blessed?
No, the only thing I can bless is that Jalen Ramsey, after the interception that took it to the 1, got up and, like, danced in Rivers' face, which made them take it back to the 15, which allowed the field goal instead of the touchdown for the cover.
Yes.
Because if they went for the 1, you run it in there. It's a safer play to run with Fournette than it is to long snap, I would think, in a sudden death situation. Because they were at the 15.
Wasn't it Boye who did the dance?
Boye may have made the pick.
Yeah, Boye made the pick, and then Rivers laid him out.
Whatever.
Well, it's okay. I mean, in consolation for the Chargers losing at Jacksonville, you got to make a cameo on South Park last night.
I think we were making that cameo anyway, but that's pretty good.
No, but you specifically were in the stands.
And this week, we'll play a neutral site game with the Water Bears, taking on the Bills, so... Bless us.
All right, so third member of the team, let's get him in here. And if you ever, I mean, dictionaries don't really exist anymore. At least I don't think they do. I don't know if they sell them in stores or not. But people just use them online. But you go to, like, dictionary.com, you click on fake news, you will see Tim and Cust.
Tim and Cust.
That is not my name.
You are fake news.
I most certainly am not fake news.
You are the definition of fake news.
That's not true.
Geoff, let me ask you. Is Quality Street a thing in the States, or is it just Canada?
I think it's just Canada.
Is it just Canada? Okay.
I have no clue, though.
Tim was going on about how excellent Quality Street is.
I'll give him that. It's pretty good.
No, it's for, like, geezers.
Yeah, no, it's excellent.
No, I worked at a former Quality establishment before the one we worked at together, and they would have them out, and I enjoyed that place.
Would you enjoy any free stuff that was out, candy-wise, chocolate-wise?
No, they're good, though.
They're not. Like, there's one of them
But what is it? It's like a Christmas chocolate box, right? That's essentially what it is.
Yeah, you know, what about those, like, orange ones that are in there? Those are disgusting.
I don't remember what they all are. I know there's a couple gems in there, though. They're
disgusting.
You're trying to bring something good down.
It's not good. They might as well be filled with, like, Chocolate Werther's Originals.
Those are also excellent.
Those would probably be good, too.
God. All right, recapping last week. It was the first week all season.
Wow.
The three of us, Coin included, all went over 500 for picks.
Shame.
The Coin and I were 7-6-1, and you and Cust were 9-4-1, moving Cust into the lead for the year at 72-69. I'm 71-70. The Coin is 70-71. The Coin taking a back seat here, and you are 63-78.
I'm coming up the rear for I'll salvage myself.
Well, there's 4 teams on bye. You can go 14-0 this week.
Not planning on doing that, but I
plan on going 14-0 every week. It just doesn't turn out that way.
I'm going to catch, hopefully, a heater.
And we didn't get to, before we get into the Thursday night game, I had to cancel the show on Monday. I was sick, and usually I get to talk to Sir Cust about a lot of things.
So let's talk about the Thursday game. It's Tennessee and Pittsburgh.
No, the thing I wanted to talk about, Tim, so your free money teaser last week was a loser because you teased through the number and put the Jets on it. That was a stupid move.
Who teases through the number?
Idiots who get bullied through peer pressure on a show. That's who.
The
original teaser was perfect, and it hit without any stress or fear, but and it is my fault. I allowed myself to be bullied into it, to put New York on the teaser, so I got what I deserved. I take full responsibility for my inability to just tell you fools no.
But to be fair, if a team's going to get shut out, then it's probably worth putting...
So you're right back on this horse.
You were the one who said they were going to get shut out.
Well, to be fair, they scored 15 points. And I didn't say they were going to. I said it could happen. I was right that Tampa's offense was terrible. I was just wrong about other things.
The best part was that there was no more free money ever than just betting against the Jets last week. I made them my SUPERLOCK, Tampa Bay. Worked out perfectly. Had them in the Super 7. It was just excellent.
I had a great week, too. I had were 5-2 for 3 straight weeks in the Super 7.
I think you're now only trailing me by like 8 games in the Super 7.
Yeah, we're making a charge, and those are my picks last week to go 5-2.
Well, you're just a legend.
No, the Jets are not good right now. They played terribly. That game was not robbed from them. They played like garbage, and they deserved to lose.
So now they should only be 9-1.
No, all those teams that were 3-5, I said they weren't going to make the playoffs. They're not going to make the playoffs. None of them are any good. Like, I was right to write them off.
Yeah, you were right, Tim. That's what I gathered out of all of this, that you were right.
I was right about some things. I was wrong
The
about other
Chargers
things.
are good. They just suck together.
Yes.
I agree.
They're like lobster with like chocolate and peanut butter or something.
Lobster
like,
stuffed with tacos?
just they're good things, but like together they are an obnoxious concoction of you suck.
And the weird thing is, they're not even out of it yet.
Yes, they are.
Don't talk to me because I've got a plan, but I don't want to let the
we'll
world.
get to your plan.
I don't need the world to know my plan.
Oh, all right. The other fun thing that we didn't get to discuss on Monday's show was Tim was going on and on and on. He had pre-ordered Notre Dame national championship gear.
No, he didn't.
No, I didn't.
Oh, really?
How do you pre-order that? What do you mean?
I never pre-ordered gear.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
I'd be lying if I wasn't thinking about like a Rose Bowl semifinal game and starting to think about, gee, what are tickets to Pasadena? I'd be lying if that wasn't true.
I'd be there. I would be there. Well, I'll be in California right around that time.
It's not going to happen now. And again,
What? No. Notre Dame's gonna win it all, aren't
I went a couple
they?
of years ago to the Rose Bowl when it was Jameis versus Mariota.
Oh, really?
that wasn't a very good game.
It wasn't a good game, but oh my God, I worked all the angles to go by myself, leave my wife and family. And it was just a horrible game, but it was like the first and second overall pick, so I felt like the football fan in me owed it to myself.
See, Tim is more excited now. He's now talked himself. Now that Notre Dame can't win the national championship, he's very excited for them to be in like the Chili's Lean Beef Bowl or something like that. Some great corporate sponsor.
No, they'll get a good bowl. They'll get a quality bowl.
The quality street bowl?
Either the Cotton Bowl or the Orange Bowl. One of the big, huge, massive New Year's bowls. So it's consolation for playing terribly. The last 2 times the Irish have played at Hard Rock was the national championship game, and then last week against Miami. Just got their doors blown off. So I really hope it's not the Orange Bowl.
Do you think they get terrified because the stadium name is just so cool that they don't know what to do?
They just don't play well in Miami. I don't understand it. It wasn't a heartbreaker because they lost. I've said this before. I'll say it again. If your team is going to lose a football game, you want them to lose by 40 points. You don't want them to lose by 1 because you can accept the fact when your team loses by 40. Hey, we were the worst team. You can't play through your mind. Oh, if that play had gone this way, or if the other play had gone that way, we would have won. You just know you got crushed, and you can sort of you can just deal with it. You can grin and bear it. When your team loses by 1 point, like when the league steals a game from you.
There you go. In any close game, the league steals the game from you.
It's happened in the past. They did it at Clemson Notre Dame game a couple of years ago, where the ACC refs didn't call a hold on the 2 point. Anyway, it still hurts. But
so the Chargers just suck, but the Jets have games stolen from them.
And so does Notre Dame. Yeah. I mean, if there's one thing the NCAA would not want and the TV networks would not want would be to have Notre Dame in their primetime games.
Well, you know what screwed Notre Dame was the game being on
terrible?
ESPN and not NBC, where they get the home everything.
Well, that used to be the case till Doug Flutie started calling our games, and nothing Doug Flutie enjoys more than picking points of criticism about the Irish. Like, I'm not tuning in to watch Notre Dame games to listen to some guy from Boston College criticize Notre Dame.
Doug Flutie needs to chill on the hair dye.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's pulling an Eric Bischoff?
It's like way too strong, and it's like a red. It's like, dude, you gotta like chill. I get you're probably cruising the Cougar bars nowadays, but you're Doug Flutie, you can still bring it home. You don't need to have that obnoxious red rooster.
All right, let's get into the Thursday game. Tennessee at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is favored by 7 points at home on a Thursday. Pittsburgh showing once again that they play to the quality of their opposition. So I guess this really goes on how you think about Tennessee. Tennessee, Tim's Super Bowl pick from the AFC, apparently. Apparently they're very good. So that means Pittsburgh probably blows the doors off them and play really well, right?
Based on the Tim logic, a Tennessee being that good, I would think so. Really, listen, Pat Mayo has talked me into more winners, whether it be in football and golf, than losers. But I can't believe I let myself turncoat on the Steelers on the road. It really all depends. It really all depends, guys, on what you think about this Steeler team. Again, they play down to their opponents. What sort of effort are we going to get on the short week? Tennessee maybe could see this as more of a statement game for them. I'll take Tennessee plus the 7. I don't like it a lot, though. If Pittsburgh blows the doors off, it doesn't surprise me. If Pittsburgh lollygags, they're a team I have such a hard time figuring out as those Steelers.
Mariota suffered an ankle and shoulder injury.
Is it on that one tackle?
I don't know if it was both on the same play, but the shoulder injury was to his non-throwing shoulder, which I guess is a good thing. But if he's going to be limited, at least from using his legs, that's going to really limit their offense because, I mean, they're probably not going to hand the ball off to DeMarco Murray 25 times in this game.
And that's bad. And you finally saw in last week's game, they had design runs for Mariota showing that he was finally getting healthier because they had taken those away in the weeks where we acknowledged that he probably wasn't at full strength. The fact that those runs were back in the play calling shows that he was healthier. So that would be a big blow. It's just,
I don't know. I just look at Tennessee. Didn't cover against Cleveland. Didn't cover against Cincinnati. Now they're going into Pittsburgh. It depends on what Pittsburgh team you think shows up. Tim, what Pittsburgh team do you think shows up?
On a super short week, the sort of Pittsburgh team that does just enough to get by. And that's what I think we're going to see tonight. A Pittsburgh team that wins it close and tight and gets it done 23-17, something like that. So in that sense, of course, I will take the Titans. I'm looking forward to this game because almost the entire game is going to be shown from the Skycam. So that should be an interesting development for Thursday Night Football. It's a good game. I think this Pittsburgh team is very suspect. This is a team I can't wait to bet against in the playoffs because I don't trust them. But nevertheless, they're playing better than almost any other team in the AFC, which is also a problem.
I think Pittsburgh covers. I think Pittsburgh comes out and rolls them. I think Tennessee is wildly overrated. I keep saying that, and they keep pulling out these like grease wins against marginal teams.
And that one play A.J. Green made last week, Steelers can make about 2 or 3 of those.
That's the thing.
That's the thing that does concern me taking the Titans, that the number, well, it's big. Quickly you might realize it's not big enough. Thursday Night Football, though, from an actual real money betting perspective, I've almost completely written
I don't
off.
bet it anymore.
It is
sucks.
just, it is gone. It is gone. I got fantasy implications, what have you, but I can't bet these games with real money. There's just such a vibe to them that makes sketchier than the standard NFL sketch.
The only thing that I really like about the Thursday night game is I started streaming it on Amazon, and it looks great.
No,
Okay.
yeah, great.
Well, I mean, it gives you the feed coming in. Gives you higher resolution because I don't have 4K like that 4K channel.
I imagine though Tim tonight is going to be on a rampage on the Twitterverse with this Skycam because he's 95 years old, and a lot of the articles I read said old people will probably be exponentially more bothered by this than say the Madden video game generation. That they're far more familiar with that angle because that's how we drop back in Madden with that angle. So Tim is probably going to be furious watching this game, speaking for the people, as he would say.
Well, I would say that because I do speak for the people in almost every situation. And, I don't mind a play or two or even a drive every now and then from the Skycam. I'm interested, but I'm also sort of skeptical about an entire game being shown from there. I actually don't think people want that. I think they do, but they will quickly learn that they're uncomfortable with it. But it'll be an interesting experiment. I'm sure I'm not going to like the whole game that way, but I'm going to watch.
Someone sent us the graph. I feel like I learned it in school. It's like the technology graph and the stages of adopting.
Okay.
Like early adopter.
Tim claims he's an early adopter, though.
Yeah, that's what got me. Tim is the absolute farthest stage on the board.
That's not true. I mean, I'm completely computer literate.
You've never used a cell phone charger.
I use my cell phone charger at home.
That's what I meant.
I use all kinds of modern technology.
He drives a car. He gave up his horse and buggy.
So
that was a big step.
Yeah, I guess early adopters will probably enjoy this view much more than others.
Tim can't handle when the London game is streamed on Yahoo, and then he can't figure out how to watch it.
I just would prefer to watch it on TV.
You can watch it on your TV.
I'm with Tim.
If you were such
I'm
an
with Tim
early
on this
adopter
one.
of technology, you'd be able to figure out how to get the game on your TV.
Rather than streaming it on my iPhone X with its little notch out of it while I'm,
well, hold on a second. Do you have an iPhone X?
Of course not.
Then shut the fuck up.
They look terrible.
Have you ever even picked one up?
Of course not.
Have you ever used one?
Pardon me? Well, if I've never picked one up, I obviously haven't used one.
Then shut the fuck up.
So
They look...
Shut the fuck up on it.
The little notch...
No more talking about stuff you have zero idea about what it's about.
Steve Jobs would never have allowed that phone to be made. That's the last thing I'll say about it then.
Sunday games. Arizona at Houston. On yesterday's show, Siege kept telling me that the Houston was favored by 8 points in this game, and I hadn't seen the lines because it was off the board before I started doing the show. So I was just like, that seems really strange. Like, I'm going to smash Arizona in that spot. Turns out, not the case. It's Arizona by 1 in this game, which makes a lot more sense. I mean, coming into the season, if I had told you, you might get a game in Week 11 that's Blaine Gabbert versus Macho King Tommy Savage, how excited would you be?
I was more excited about your video with Siege yesterday.
When he was in his sex parlor?
Because even my wife, who I guess follows you on Twitter, was like, do you know, like, she was even creeped out by, by the Siege video. Gabbert, Savage, no pun intended, it is Savage. I feel like you just got to plug your nose and take the home team.
Maybe?
Let
me ask you this. Tim, I'll throw this to you. Is Blaine Gabbert substantially worse than Drew Stanton?
No. He's worse, but he's not substantially worse.
Is he worse?
And,
is there a chance that he could be better?
And far more importantly, he's significantly better than Tom Savage, which is the only question that actually matters here. I don't think Houston has a chance. I think Arizona wins it pretty comfortably.
Really?
No, Tom Savage is not going to win any games. He's not capable of winning any games. They're not going to win any games under him. That team has no interest in playing hard with Tom Savage. You can see that week in, week out. Arizona fought tooth and nail against Seattle last Thursday night and coming off a 10-day rest. I just think if there's a spot to bet the Cardinals and Blaine Gabbert, I mean, this is it. And, of course, the best part of the Siege video was you guys subtweeting me about rankings and pretzels.
Can we subtweet you in a video?
Well, I don't know what the proper term would be. I mean, I know what subtweeting is. I don't know how what the term would be in a video, but that's what I'm using.
Do you mean I used your name in a video?
And my propensity for popular rankings.
I mean, your pickle rankings might have been the most popular thing you've ever done in terms of rankings.
Yeah, I still think I got ratioed on it, though.
Well, you get ratioed on all of them because you're a lunatic. See?
I hate this game. I'm going to take the home team.
You're going to take Houston?
Yeah.
I guess the biggest thing here is, like, how does Houston score points? You run the ball with Lamar Miller. You run the ball with Donta Foreman. Maybe your defense can get to Gabbert. And, it's not like they don't have Clowney anymore. He's still there. He's still doing stuff. But could it be one of those games where they hand the ball to Peterson 8,000 times and he averages 3 yards a carry and they just milk the clock out?
10 days off. That's where Peterson thrives with extra time off. He's had it twice this year. He's killed it twice this year. He's a must-play in DFS. He's a must-play on your fantasy team this week.
The only times that he's gone off in games so far is when Arizona has been more than a 4-point favorite, which would logically make a lot of sense because in games that you're favored, you would run the ball more than you would in games where you're underdogs. You're looking at yourself again. I can see it over my shoulder.
It's creeping me out.
With Blaine Gabbert under center, you think they're going to want to run the ball more than usual. I just think it's a perfect Adrian Peterson spot. That's all.
It very well could be, but the big thing is if Houston's going to score points, like DeAndre Hopkins is still by far their best player. Unfortunately, He's going to be matched up with Arizona's best player, which could really impact his production here.
I agree.
And Will Fuller's not playing, so you got to play the Duke of Ellington. But on the other side of the ball, Bruce Ellington. That guy's going to go off. There's a DFS must start for you.
Okay.
So I'm going to take... Oh, fuck, I don't even know, man. The coin took Arizona, so I'll take Arizona. I'll tail the coin on this one.
Who did the coin like tonight?
Tennessee.
Okay.
Baltimore at Green Bay. Green Bay coming off a nice cover last week. I think I was the only one on the Packers. 5.5 points, a lot of points for the Bears.
A ton of points. It's a complete role reversal that you should have seen, like... the Bears favored by that sort of number. strange.
It was. Now Baltimore coming off the bye week. They're 2-point favorites in Green Bay. I still have no faith in Green Bay, and I think that Baltimore's defense is actually pretty good. But I think that the Bears defense is actually pretty good as well. And Hundley was able to get to them. He hurt his hamstring last week, though, so I don't know if he's going to be limited in any sort of way. He's going to start, but is he going to be 100% mobile? And that could be something. I mean, the only plays that they really ran, I mean, Shaughnessy was going on about this on like Tuesday morning when I was talking to him. Paul, what were you saying? Just the only play that Green Bay runs is like just dump it to the flats, then basically just throw a bomb to a streaking receiver down the sidelines.
Yeah, have two wide receivers streak deep, do flies, and then just have another guy come into the flats, and like nobody was covering the flats.
That's a move.
Yep.
But when that's your entire offense, no Aaron Jones, no Montgomery.
It's your boy Jonathan Williams time.
No, Jamal Williams.
Jamal. You were hyping him up.
He was. Now he's finally starting. But
I
he's
know.
been...
I didn't stash him long enough.
Yeah, he's back on the waiver wire now. I don't even know.
Is Woodhead back?
Woodhead's supposed to be back. Terrence West is going to be back. They're going to have 4 running backs. I don't know. I just feel like Baltimore coming off the bye is the move, but Baltimore is such a schizophrenic team.
Such a schizophrenic team. I'm going to take Baltimore here, though.
You're going to take Baltimore on the road?
That bye kind of does it for me. I'm a believer in the Harbaughs. So
I dropped the coin.
It's such a sketchy game. Like coach quarterback combination, as bad as Flacco is, it's still hard to the Ravens.
Tim, where are you going here?
Joe Flacco should not be laying points at Lambeau Field. This is a bad line. I think the Packers are going to win the game. I think the Packers are just a better football team. And so give me them. I think Hundley will be okay. I think they've got more offensive pieces. All of Baltimore's running backs are terrible. I don't care about any of them. I think it's a pretty reasonably easy win for the Packers, actually. And this is – you want to talk about desperation games? The Pack need to hang on with their teeth and their claws because if they get Aaron Rodgers back, they can win the whole thing. Baltimore's in a race for the last playoff spot, but like all those teams around them are probably going to lose this week too. So it's one of those spots where I think a desperate Green Bay team at home should beat a less talented team.
Tim is very confident about 2 very crappy football teams.
I know.
But they're playing 2 even crappier teams, and that's why.
I'm just saying.
He's pushed all in on Blaine Gabbert and Brett Hundley.
Exactly.
Here's a fun fact. The Green Bay Packers right now are 60-1 to win the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers has already begun taking snaps and is potentially going to try to come off the IR when he's eligible in Week 15. If that's the case, the Packers can tread water and they can sneak into the playoffs. I mean, do they have any worse of a chance in winning than like Philadelphia does? Probably not.
No, they have challenges getting in insofar that you've just got teams like Seattle and Carolina. Mostly the team you have to worry about is actually Seattle. Carolina is probably golden. They own the tiebreak on Seattle because they beat them in Week 1. So the question will be, can they find a way to get to where the Seahawks are in terms of record? I mean, the Seahawks have games still against Arizona and San Francisco. The Packers might have to win all but one more game for the rest of this. Might have to go 11-5 to make the playoffs. I don't know at 10-6 if they can get in. So I understand why it's 60-1, but man, I mean, if they could get Rodgers back, they of course they'd do damage.
I mean, even if you bet that 60-1, you can just bet against them basically in round 1 and see what happens.
I think they have a tougher time getting into the play. I mean, I think it sounds crazy. I think it'll be harder for them to make the playoffs to win the Super Bowl, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because if they make the playoffs, they have the best player in the league back, so it makes sense. I wouldn't touch it. I don't believe in their ability to get to the playoffs with this lackluster coach and roster.
Do you think McCarthy gets fired at the end of the year?
It's funny. It'd be hard to because the quarterback's out. And then it's like, if you're a believer in McCarthy, if the organization is stuck by him this long, how do you fire him when the guy's not there?
Yeah, but isn't this sort of proof that maybe he's not a great coach? That maybe he's just riding the coattails of the best player in the league?
But so is the guy that would be responsible for firing him.
Precisely. I mean, I've been banging.
And then that puts Ted Thompson on the hot seat. So as long as McCarthy's there, it's McCarthy on the hot seat over Thompson.
I guess that makes sense. I mean, I guess the big thing would be, and maybe it's a different, maybe Brett Hundley's just not good, but I think one of the biggest credits that Belichick would ever get would be the year that Brady went out and they were still good.
Yeah.
that it would be nice to see another coach up his team to
But
that
I
point.
don't think they can. I don't think they scheme on defense. As we mentioned, Dom Capers is still around. I don't like anything that goes on in Green Bay outside of QB1.
You know, when I thought that Dom Capers was 80 years old, I was thinking of Dick LeBeau,
He's in Tennessee now.
who's 75 years old, as I found out after the fact. Also,
looking at Green Bay's schedule, I think if Seattle were to falter, that Lions-Packers game week 17, that'll be the night game. I think they'll flex that in. That could be fun.
Oh, I really hope that's not the night game.
Well, something has to be because they haven't got one set yet. And
No, I thought there was no Week 17 night game.
they will.
They will put one.
No.
The Packers will be out. Don't worry.
That can't happen.
The Packers will be out.
I think there's a decent chance that could be the game. If Seattle falters, that'll be the game because that's nothing but ratings.
That ruins my New Year's Eve, by the way.
Don't worry, it's not
Right,
happening.
you're getting to that game, aren't you?
I'm going to that game, yeah. The plan was go to the 1 o'clock, go back across the border to Windsor, and then have a good time. But if it's going to be the night game, we're going to be like New Year's at Ford Field? No, thank you.
The Packers have to have a competitive second half. Don't worry about it.
All right, I'm taking Baltimore in this game, and so is the coin.
Left on their schedule is Baltimore, the Browns, the Buccaneers, but then the Panthers and Steelers are also there. So,
Well, maybe if they just lose this week, I won't have to worry about it.
I've been trying to tell you that.
Okay. Detroit at Chicago. Here's a fun one. The Bears are 3-point dogs.
Yeah, it's a laughs.
What?
It's a barrel of laughs. I hope I watch none of this game.
I actually like both these teams. Both these teams are fun to watch. I don't know why. I find them both very intriguing.
The fact that this guy throws stones at this game, but he's like talking about how great he feels about Savage, Gabbert, and Flacco Hunley. But okay. Sure, Tim.
Sorry for not preaching the conventional wisdom, Geoff.
Chicago, who have they beaten at home? They've beaten Pittsburgh at home. Haven't they beaten Carolina at home? We saw them take Atlanta to the very edge at home. I think
we just watched them lose to Green Bay at home.
Whatever. And in a role reversal spot that Monday morning realized how dumb anyone was who thought Chicago would win. I'm going to take Chicago at home, the Lions. Huge Thanksgiving game on deck Thursday versus the Vikings. This is one maybe they can overlook because that Viking game on Thanksgiving will be so important to them in their season. I'll back the Bears at home where they've been pretty consistent compete level.
What's the Lions' record?
The Lions are 5-4, and they have everything in front of them.
Yeah, like they have a good chance of making the playoffs, don't they?
Very good chance.
Again, that Seattle team is in front of them, and they don't play Seattle. So they need help, but they've got on their schedule the Bengals, the Bears, again.
There could be a big...
The Ravens, and then the Bears this week. The Vikes and the Packers are their two tough games. I mean, the Lions are stupid, so they could lose any and all of those games, but they could also win most of all of those games. So I just, you know what, it'll just irritate you more, but that Lions-Packers game is looking more and more like it's got to be the game.
It could be for the Lions.
I'll tell you this.
The Packers.
I'll tell you this right now. There could also be a big birdie bogey swing here if the Lions can come on and beat Chicago. Minnesota has a very tough game in Los Angeles.
At home against Los Angeles.
Against Los Angeles, and then they play next week. So there's a chance for the Lions. A lot can change in the next 7 days here. But as it pertains to this football game, Chicago just, outside of the role reversal of last week, I'll back them at home.
I got a hot prediction about the Vikings. They lose this week, they lose on the short week, and then we see Teddy after the mini-bye.
That's hot. No, I don't mind it. That's for the Vikings. I'm enjoying them and what they're doing, and they actually won me some
coin last week.
Some good coin in a nice spot.
I find it really hard of what to make of Detroit. I think they're not a team that's going to go blow the doors off Chicago, and
they also lollygagged versus Cleveland.
But then they ended up covering the double-digit spread.
Of course, because it's Cleveland. But if they lollygag on the road here, then they might not be in that spot. I don't love this game. I've just seen too much. The quality of team Chicago competes with at home is enough for me to take the home points.
Yeah, I think I'm going to ride with you here. Chicago at home, obviously they're a bit better. The defense is, I mean, it's not substantially better than
They had bad injuries
Detroit's.
last week. 2 defensive linemen were in that game. The names escape me right now, but in the read-up I was doing, that was a very big contributing factor who are supposed to be back this week.
And Chicago right now, the second best pass rush in the league. Detroit, a bottom 10 offensive line and can't run the ball. That's kind of tough. So I'm going to go with Chicago here. Tim?
Yeah, despite it all, I will take the Lions. I think the Lions are going to win the game, so I don't mind laying the 3.
Oh, here's the game of the week: Jacksonville at Cleveland. Cleveland.
Oh, God.
Jacksonville is a 7.5-point favorite on the road. I don't think I'd ever see the day. But I mean, with Kaiser, not only is Kaiser playing quarterback, he's banged up right now, dealing with some rib problems. I don't envision things going well for Kaiser against Saxonville.
Yeah,
that might be enough analysis.
I mean, I think the Browns are probably going to win. I do think that. I really do. But if they don't, though, I think they will cover. I think it'll be a close game. I don't think Jacksonville's to be trusted yet. We saw last week. I mean, Geoff can speak more to this than I can because he watched the game closely last week. Jacksonville is a stupid team, too, who did everything in their power to try to throw away a football game. The Jags are a profoundly flawed team on the offensive side of the ball. So, I don't know. I just think you saw the 49ers win. I think that the Browns don't have a lot of opportunities to win. At home against the Jags, I think, is a spot they totally can win. And I just feel like they're just going to muster up an effort to make it real close. If they don't win outright, at least make it really close and cover this number.
The Ander curse continues to propel the Jacksonville Jaguars probably into the playoffs at this point. This is how this is working. The more and more vitriol you spit at Saxonville, Tim, the better they get.
They won on a blocked field goal, man.
I know.
It's just every part of that game, their special team, the fake punt. I'm going to take Cleveland to cover. They could easily lose by 40, but I just think this is going to be weaselly close.
In the last game, the coin took Detroit. In this game, it's taking Jacksonville, and I, too, am taking Jacksonville. I just think the defense can probably do enough scoring to cover this spread anyway. Like, this is such a bad matchup.
It's bad.
And Kaiser is so bad. Like, what if Kaiser was still playing quarterback for Notre Dame? How much would they have lost by last week?
Well, they couldn't have lost by more. So
no, they could have lost by more because Kaiser could have thrown 8 picks.
Yeah, well, Wimbush was trying to do that on every throwback. It's disgusting. When Brian Kelly gets fired at the end of the year, as he should be, of course they won't fire him, but he should be fired. And why do we have to talk about that? I don't want to. It just makes me all lugubrious to have to go through this.
You know, for someone who you really do call for people to be fired all the time. You're basically Trump.
I have been calling for Brian Kelly to be fired for years.
Well, you were calling for him to be fired 2 weeks ago?
Yes, I want him fired. I don't think he's a good coach. I don't think he knows what he's doing. But he's not. They're not going to let him go because we're going to go to the Cotton Bowl or the Orange Bowl, and then we'll lose to like Oklahoma State by 35, and people will just shrug their shoulders and say, "Oh, whatever, he got to a big bowl," and we'll just keep repeating this GD cycle over and over again. While the most important and best team in college football keeps not winning the actual championship, which is our birthright, and it infuriates me.
Birthright.
Most important team in college football. Tim is once again living like it's 1890.
It's as true today as it was then.
I wanted to get this in. Since 05, Lions 3-9 ATS the Sunday before the Thursday.
Really?
Yeah.
3-9?
Yeah.
Well, good thing I have Chicago. KC at the Giants. The Giants, 10.5-point dogs at home to Kansas City, who doesn't play much defense. Not going to lie to you. The Chiefs. Now, some of it has to do with they get out by a bunch, and then teams, just are able to throw all over them here. DFS-wise, the Shepard, Ingram, Eli stack, not terrible. But everyone was saying they quit last week. It looks like Janoris Jenkins quit when he just decided not to tackle Garrett Zellick. It was just like, I'm not putting myself at risk for this nonsense. Is 10.5 too many points, though?
No.
No?
It's not. I think it can happen easily. As you saw me scrolling there, I was looking for my Andy Reid off a bye note. 13-5.
Oh, yeah, they're off a bye, aren't they?
ATS.
Oh, yeah,
KC
it is.
This is just going to be what it is. I don't think – you think Janoris Jenkins is going to put any more effort into tackling Kareem Hunt?
Or Travis Kelce?
Or Travis Kelce low? Yeah, man. It's just going to get ugly. It's going to get bad, I think, this one.
The coin will be taking the Giants. You and I are on Kansas City. Tim, I feel like this is a Giants week for you.
Yeah, I love the Giants. If I were making Super 7 picks on my own this week, New York would definitely be in my 7.
Why is that?
Way too many points for a Chiefs team that I think is wilting a little bit and has a terrible defense. And I just think the Giants is a classic. Everyone in the world now believes the Giants are the worst team in football. They just lost to the Niners. Har, har, har. They get no respect, and the
People
Giants
say
just
har
sucker
har
punch.
har.
Yeah, and then the
Is
Giants
that a thing
just
people say?
The Giants sucker punch the public and cover the number. Could even win it because the Chiefs make stupid decisions all the time. I don't think they're going to. I think the Chiefs will win. No. I think it's going to be a super low scoring game too. It'll be like 17-10, 14-7, like a ugly game to watch that the Chiefs cover, but I don't think they win.
Yeah,
they win, but they do not cover.
You could make a case a backdoor would be alive here in a lot of spots here. Wouldn't be shocked by it. The notion that guys quit, I mean, yes, some guys quit, but there's also a lot of young players like those young receivers on the Giants. There's a lot of guys on the Giants that are in no position to quit. You know, everything's on film, so I don't really buy the quitting. I could buy them not like wanting to play for the coach, but everyone goes out there and plays and wants to win their matchups. So I take that quitting thing and I throw it away.
It's usually just Tim. Tim has proclaimed that 8 different teams have quit on their coach so far this season.
That's true.
And then despite the fact that he doesn't like people to be fired, he calls for everyone to be fired. Also, if we follow the Andercuss cycle of the Kansas City Chiefs, it started out that they were going to be one of the worst teams in football. Andy Reid would be fired by week 9, which
Mahomes would
be starting, Alex Smith would be benched, and they get off to the hot start. Tim doesn't believe. And then around like week 5, he proclaims them the best team in football. Now they're on the downturn. Now he seems to be off them a little bit, so the upswing is going to happen for Kansas City again.
Yeah.
That's the cycle of the poor Anderkers.
Didn't he call like the Andy Reid Super Bowl?
No, I don't think I've ever said that. I still don't think the Chiefs. I never said the Chiefs are going to be a Super Bowl team.
Okay, fair.
Best team.
Oh, that's Titans. Sorry.
That's the Titans, yes.
Sorry,
Can't beat the Titans.
My bad. Yeah.
So the coin and Cust are on the Giants. We're on Kansas City. In what actually may be the game of the week, there's 2 of them coming up here, and one of them is not Tampa Bay and Miami, but Los Angeles Rams at the Minnesota Vikings. I threw out my conspiracy theory angle. Maybe Minnesota intentionally tries to tank to get rid of Case Keenum. Because the big thing is, not that I think that Teddy Bridgewater is better than Case Keenum, but we don't know if he is or not. And can you envision a scenario with the Super Bowl in Minnesota that at the end of this NFL season, that Case Keenum is hoisting the Lombardi Trophy? The answer is no.
I disagree. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but I think there's like a 7 or 8% chance that it happens. Worst quarterbacks have gone to the Super Bowl.
Keenum to Thielen rules.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe just a bunch of us white guys. Like, I don't know, man, but that is awesome. Every time I see it, I love it. One thing, you know, it's been a weird NFL season. A lot of things get proven, disproven. One thing that got cemented in stone, though, this year, as we look at this Keenum
is how bad Jeff Fisher is.
Yes, is that Jeff Fisher, we all thought he was bad. He's so much worse than the bad we thought he was.
Yeah, we thought he was, like, mediocre.
Yeah, okay, like, he's just bad. He's bad. He's out of his time. No, he's so lost bad.
Is he the Tim Andercust of coaches?
Tim would do better.
I don't know about that. He just called jet sweep every play. That play is our birthright.
I'd be cutting players left, right, and center, too.
Yeah, you'd be like Homer? You're cut.
Yeah. I like the Rams here.
I like the Rams here as well. I guess the big thing is maybe I'm wrong about Keenum in this sense that you're right, because I laughed off Goff being any good this year, and I guess with Sean McVay, it turns out he was good, and maybe Keenum's kind of...
And it's so funny, because like 3 weeks ago, a month ago, we were looking at it like the Rams are the only team scoring 30 points in a game. Like, that's crazy. And we're like 3-4 games later, and nothing is stopped. It's happening more.
Now, Siege made this point to me, too, that if you look at the Rams' schedule so far this season, it's hilariously bad. Like, the teams that they've beaten. And now it gets tough with quality teams.
Yeah, I saw they got a run of, Minnesota, Seattle. They're playing a lot of teams in the playoff picture, I feel, running up now.
Yeah. The Saints, the Rams, they have a really schedule.
That was, like, the only reason people thought they might be in a bad spot last week was the look ahead for the run that they were on, but...
I did not fall into that trap.
I don't believe I did either.
Vikings, Saints, and Eagles 3 of the next 4 weeks, with the Seahawks after that, and then the Titans after that. Like
Super Bowl Titans.
Jeez.
Well, but those are all playoff teams,
and a Super Bowl team.
But okay, all right, fine, ha ha ha. They're all playoff teams. So I mean, the Rams could put themselves with the tie breaks in like the first spot in the NFC, or they could be a 6 seed. Depending on how the next 4 or 5 weeks shake up.
Well, I guess it comes down to it. Who do you think is better, Goff or Keenum?
The Vikings. I like the Vikings in the game. The fact they're only laying 2.5 at home is sketchy. I think the public is starting to buy into the Rams, but the Vikings are the better team, I still believe, and they're at home. Maybe they're equal teams, but you're getting value laying just 2.5 with the Vikes here. Give me the Vikings.
Have the Rams lost on the road yet? I don't believe they have.
They only have 2 losses, right?
Yeah, they lost to Washington at home in week 2.
And the Seahawks at home in week 5 or 6.
Yeah, so they're undefeated on the road. I mean, they're traveling well. I just think it's really tough. Like, who does Xavier Rhodes go take out on the Rams? Does it matter? Does he take down Robert Woods? Does he take out Cooper Kupp? Sammy Watkins takes himself out of games. Yeah. So you look at, like, who are the best players offensively in this game? I mean, is Goff better than Keenum? Probably.
Yeah, probably, yes.
Gurley's the better running back. You have Diggs and Thielen, who are probably substantially better.
Coach is going to draw something up here, and it's going to work. Because everything he's drawn up all year has worked. I don't see any reason why he won't have something special drawn up for Sunday that will work.
Yeah, but this Rams team hasn't gone into a tough football environment yet. They've won at San Francisco, at Dallas, at Jacksonville, at the Giants.
Here's the thing.
And the Giants are not playing well this year. So, like, going to Minnesota in that buzzsaw, I just think the Rams are not to be trusted yet in this spot. They haven't earned that.
Point Rams, Vikings play Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
Big division Thanksgiving feast.
Look ahead spot for the Vikings. I would worry about this more, and maybe this is just nonsense, but this game was like outside. It would worry me more, but it's not. It's inside. Like, it's not going to be in the Super because it's cold in Minnesota. Yeah. It's cold here right now. It's cold in Minnesota right now. Ain't so cold in L.A. So I like Goff here. I like the Rams. So you and I are on the Rams. The coin is on the Rams. Tim, you're on the Vikes?
Yep.
One team Tim has been right about this year. Probably the team he's been most right about is the Vikings.
I've enjoyed the Vikings.
Super Bowl Vikings.
I feel like I'm always a sucker for the Vikings.
Can't wait for the Vikings-Titans Super Bowl. It's going to be fun.
I don't think that's going to happen.
That Super Bowl in Minnesota.
Tampa Bay at Miami. How much time you want to spend on this one? This is the Week 1 rematch, the Hurricane game.
This game would have been fun Week 1.
Dolphins are 1-point favorites at home. Jay Cutler versus the Fitzmagic.
This is so brutal. I think the Dolphins will win, so I'll lay the point. And it's likely that when this week is over, the Dolphins are going to be in the 6th spot in the AFC. How sad is that?
Pretty sad. I think the Dolphins win too.
I'll take Tampa.
You're taking Tampa?
Just you both are taking Miami. I've got no rhyme or reason. Both teams suck. Which team cares like a little more?
I just think Tampa's defense, all things being equal, the worst unit on the field is Tampa's defense. Although Ndamukong Suh hasn't been practicing.
Miami does play better at home. It's been true again. It's been true all year. It was true last year. So just with the slightest of edges, I like Miami.
The coin is taking the Bucs here. Maybe the Bucs are rejuvenated under the Fitzmagic. Because it's the Fitzmagic narrative. He's come in. He's going to have like 3 really good games, get himself a contract, and then he'll be Ryan Fitzpatrick again.
There was nothing more Ryan Fitzpatrick than last week after McCown threw an interception that Fitzpatrick immediately threw one right back.
I like that you conceded in the first quarter of that game when the Jets got down 3-0.
Well, it looked almost exactly like the Notre Dame game in that the offense couldn't score. And when you know your offense can't put up points, once you get down, it's over. And I was right.
Against that prolific Tampa Bay defense.
That was a win game, by the way.
If your team can't score, it can't score. And it wasn't going to score that day.
So on Monday of last week, it was the Tampa who was going to get shut out. 5 minutes into the game, it was the Jets who were going to get shut out.
I was terrified of that happening.
That would have been pretty funny.
I know it would have. I know what sort of antagonism I would have
That
received.
game also, hard Sunday morning move. That was almost the Bucs -1, -2
everyone.
By the time that went off.
People heard about the Ander curse, so they were like, "Let's bet the Bucs."
But 2 weeks in a row now, Pat, there have been games that have moved hard, like hard. That Ram Giant game 2 weeks ago, and last week that Buck game, and whoever's moving it knew something.
Yeah,
because both those games, I get that Jet game was kind of close, but it never felt like the Jets. Tampa had to like give it to them, and the Jets still didn't want it.
Well, the big thing, we've seen this in 2 Tampa games so far this season. I think they were both in Tampa. One may have been in Carolina. It was Carolina and Tampa. I forget where it was. But that morning, because I always do the Sunday morning show on DK Live we're going over all the matchups, and those were projected to be 2 shootout games, and people always get really concerned about the weather. Oh, it's raining. Can't play players in the rain, which is ludicrous. There's no real evidence to support that. It's like if it's snowing out, it's like you just do whatever. I mean, I've seen Tom Brady throw for 500 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Yes, that was the day we did it in Foxborough. People were freaked out about that game.
Yeah, I mean, that ended up being a low-scoring...
That was the Carolina-Tampa game that we were talking about in Foxborough.
Yes, the Tampa-Carolina game. So the big thing with that game was it was over 17-mile-per-hour winds, just like the Jets-Tampa game last week. Once you start getting wind into it, I don't have the hard data on it, as I have not gone back and looked, but so far this season, the 2 prolific wind games that I can think of, both way under the number. Like, avoid those guys in daily fantasy, bet the under in those games. So that's the thing to monitor if you're going to watch out for it. Anyway,
Agreed.
That's way too much time on Tampa, Miami. So Miami for you and I, Cust. Tampa for the Coin and Geoff. Washington at New Orleans. 7.5-point favorites. Dem Saints are. Washington's getting healthier on the offensive line. I don't know if they're completely out of it yet. They're close to out of it. If they lose this week, they're definitely out of it. I think they might go into New Orleans and win. I don't know why I'm not a believer in New Orleans, but... Yeah, I said they were in a bad spot last week against the Bills. They ran for 300 yards and won by 80 points. So maybe just throw out anything I have to say about this. I just think that while Washington went and beat the Rams earlier this season, maybe Washington's a better road team.
Listen, someone came to Tim's defense on the Twitterverse. Someone who normally glad hands, but comes into bash. He's like, you guys make fun of Tim for the Jets, but he's not the idiot that thought the Saints were in a bad spot in Buffalo. I'll say this about the Saints. That was a really impressive win in the sense that I really did think it was a bad spot. Even when the Saints were that prolific team of years past, that was a game that they would
falter,
maybe win, maybe lose, but it was a game where...
It was a weird spot because it seemed like a Saints letdown spot, and it seemed like the typical Buffalo trap game.
Yeah, with Buffalo also having the extra rest coming off being embarrassed on a Thursday. So full marks to New Orleans because that's not an easy place to play, and they just went in there and... the lifeless, willless Bills just got run all over. That was pretty sad. So I'll own that. It was the only game I bet on Sunday that I lost, silly enough, falling into that Bills trap. I'm with you here, Pat. I don't feel a win, but I think the Saints keep the Redskins keep this within the number. And I think by Sunday it'll even be higher. Maybe even a full 8.5.
Well, if you start seeing it go the other way, you know something's probably up.
Yeah.
This drops to like 5.5 by kickoff, or even 6.5 by kickoff. Tim, what do you think?
I think it's going to be a boat race. And because I think that, if you're going to give me 7.5, I'll take it. I mean, the Redskins are one of the most exciting teams to watch every week. You're never quite sure what they're up to. But nevertheless, they're a good team to watch. I love the Saints team. I think the Saints are an excellent team. Part of the reason they weren't susceptible to the Buffalo trap is because this Saints team is a running team now. They're not a passing team. I know it sounds
Agreed.
crazy that they have Drew Brees, but this is a running team now. It's a run-first offense, which is crazy, but it is. And so, nevertheless, I think this could be a more traditional up-and-down game because the Redskins make it that way. And in climate control, it's a fun game. I mean, this is the best week of NFL games on the slate probably all year. I mean, if there is a week to not do family stuff and watch football, this is the weekend. There's nothing but great games on.
I see 2 okay games.
I don't see what you see.
You look at the game on Sunday night, Monday night. The New England game's great. This is a great game. The Vikings-Rams.
The game of the week is Goff and Keenum. That's not really gonna make you cancel a plan, would it?
Tonight's game is really good. Up and down the line. It's just a week loaded with interesting, entertaining football games, and this is one of them. So I think the Skins cover. I have the game written out as 37-31 for New Orleans.
It's a round to Washington, although Week 11 now, and they're cursed. That's not good. But, yeah, the coin's on Washington, too.
And Kirk Cousins, fantastic backdoor potential with a guy.
He's a backdoor specialist.
If you got Cousins and it's a 10-point, 14-point game, you'll feel pretty confident. New Orleans, I will say this, full marks to them, but this is 2 straight games where they've played teams that didn't look right.
Well,
and I don't know, is that a credit to them? Because the Tampa team they played was completely kind of checked out, and last week's Buffalo team, didn't they just run 24 straight times?
Yeah, well, I mean, the biggest problem with Buffalo last week was that nose tackle Tyrod Taylor wasn't able to stop the rushing attack, so you can't play him anymore. It makes no sense.
Well said. Well
I think
said.
we'll chat about that when the time comes. We have some disagreements there.
No, well, let's talk about that game then, because that is the next one.
But there's no Cust?
Yeah, we'll do that, but we're already
jump
talking
right
about
into it,
Buffalo
okay.
at the Chargers, -5.5, and this will get you all
And
fired
this
up
is off
anyway.
the board, actually, or is this
No,
a
no,
real
this is on the
number?
board.
Okay.
off the
No,
board.
no, this one is off the board.
I mean, this is the number we're working with.
Yeah, this is the Super Contest number is -5.5.
Would you expect it to be different?
It might go
The
up.
pre-Tyrod line, quarterback line was 4.5.
Well, if it's off the book, because we have no idea who's going to play under center for the Chargers.
Rivers is playing.
Rivers is playing.
Well, I mean, if
How
we
much
knew
would you
that-
like to bet
Fine.
that Rivers plays?
I'm not saying that he is or he isn't. I'm just
No, you can just say
I don't know where
you
he-
can say that he is.
I don't know where he took that concussion because we didn't get sacked.
How weird is it that the Chargers have a good offensive line? It's been years.
What is driving me mad? Russell Okung, that people didn't like the signing in the offseason, not me, I loved it, has really done a great job at protecting Phillip. Yes, there were balls that got batted down, there were things, but there was not an official sack registered. What do you want me to talk about?
All right, so Jay Peterman playing quarterback for the Bills. I don't quite understand the move, and maybe it goes, put it this way. Maybe it's one of those situations where I was just talking about with Teddy Bridgewater, where they look at it and they're like, the Bills coaching staff is like, hey, are we going to win a playoff game with Tyrod Taylor? Could we go to the Super Bowl with Tyrod Taylor? If that answer is no, then you play Nathan Peterman, I guess. But if you're the Bills, just make the playoffs. Like, you don't need to be in Super Bowl.
what I mean.
It's been 17 years since you made the playoffs. You're in the 6th seed. Just try to make it. And listen, Tyrod's not a great quarterback. I think that's what got lost in everything on the Twitterverse yesterday.
Also, that I almost called him McDonough. McDermott, you can almost sense from day one, from some of the roster moves they made, that the last thing they wanted was Tyrod Taylor to succeed.
Now, obviously, what they should have done was before the trade deadline, after they traded Marcel Darius to Jacksonville, they should have just after the fact traded Tyrod to Jacksonville back for Marcel Darius. Maybe it would help their run defense problems.
Excellent point. A lot of the year, I've talked up the Bills and how it's amazing they're doing things right. I loved so many of the trades they've made, the draft pick accumulation that they've gotten. Although some of those draft picks, I mean, they're farther back now than where they were originally going to be because they're an Eagle pick, a Ram pick, a Chief pick, so playoff team picks. But McDermott owns this now. And my biggest concern for Buffalo is the locker room because we get some of that local Buffalo radio here, and Tyrod's a very well-liked guy inside that room. So it's demoralized the fan base, it demoralizes the locker room, and the Chargers have faults. They have warts. They have ugly warts. One thing that is not a wart is that defense. It is real, and you saw it. And if you didn't know who he was before last week's show and you watched the game, you know who Denzel Perryman is now. He is a real deal stud middle linebacker to now add to this team. Trey Boston, who danced around like an idiot when we needed 15 more yards upfield after an interception, I'll kill you, played the best game of his life. He dropped a pick 6 too. Played the best game of his life as a Charger. But we needed that 15 yards for a punt. Badly.
Well, you got it back on the back end, so it was okay.
No.
When they were dancing and he got called back 15 yards. He went both ways.
No, but I mean, their game-winning tying field goal doesn't happen if I can punt from the third. That's all. So I don't know. I'm so demoralized. The season is pretty much over. The Chargers also have to play. Let's figure this out. It's a bad spot because the Chargers, for the first time ever, will be playing on Thanksgiving in Dallas. Does that affect you? I don't know. The team that didn't hire my head coach is who they're playing this week. The defense stepped up for Gus Bradley, even though the rest of the team sucked.
Well, I guess the big thing is I'm convinced Rivers is going to play this week.
I'm 117% convinced.
I don't know if it's going to be a problem this week or it's going to be the problem next week, but you alluded to it that when they have to do that like special where they run through his entire family on the Thanksgiving Day broadcast, like they may have spent all week filming that this week. He might not even be studying.
Yeah, they're probably going to have to spend as much time as you're here on a Monday recording your shows. That's how much time the CBS cameraman's going to be at the Rivers house on Monday next week. A rookie a rookie quarterback versus Bosa and Ingram. Like, for all the faults the Chargers have, that is nothing to mess around with. So Tyrod should probably stay ready.
Well, that's really the biggest gap between anything in this game when you look at it is that the Chargers have the third best defensive line in adjusted sack rate. The Bills have the 30th offensive line in adjusted sack rate.
And LaShawn McCoy
has been kind of brutal the last 2 weeks.
Do to him I think they could do to him what they did to Fournette with Perryman back. As I said, that run defense that statistically sucks is not the same anymore. So I said a lot. I don't know. It's a neutral site game. It'll be in front of the Water Bears. And I don't know, man. I said a lot, but I've said so little at the same time. I don't have a clue.
All right, so the other side of this, Tim is picking up Jay Peterman in fantasy and playing him this week. He's sold.
Yeah, I like this team quite a bit. Listen, I think I should bet against one of the 6 Thanksgiving Day teams since I've taken all 5 so far. So Buffalo would be the pick there. I trust the Buffalo Bills coaching staff. If they believe that Nathan Peterman is their best option to try to win and make a playoff spot, which they're the favorite to do because they've got a winning record and no one else does in the sort of the jockeying for that last spot, I trust them. I think they know what they're doing. The Chargers are, a 14th defense overall? Yeah, they're good, but they're not great. I'm not too concerned about that for him. I mean, I still think McCoy can run. Gordon is a worse runner at home than he is on the road, at least has been this year. I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, Phillip Rivers will play, but he's one hit away from being taken out of the game with a concussion.
He's never been out of the game in his whole life.
Yeah, he's 4th all-time on the consecutive game list.
He'll play, but he's one hit in that game away from
He didn't get sacked versus Jacksonville. You're going to get to him?
I don't know. Well, it's not me. I could care less whether Buffalo wins.
I like that you're putting. I like that your statement of Buffalo's management clearly knows what it's doing. That would seem to be counterintuitive to Buffalo.
Yeah, but this is a new group and a new head coach.
No, I agree. I have no long term. I get it, and I think it's more of what Pat says is they like the kid. They saw him in camp. They've seen Tyrod regress. He doesn't make...
Tyrod didn't even really regress. He's being Tyrod.
You're right. I guess they just want a quarterback that'll give them a chance. Because in many ways they feel Tyrod either goes to the flat or a tight end or there's no ball throw.
The biggest thing with Tyrod is once you get down, you're kind of screwed.
And
there's no coming back.
I would argue with Tyrod, he could extend plays longer against this pass rush, but at the same time, these ends could close him off and keep him in the pocket. They rave about Peterman Catalog's release. I even watched some pre-draft videos of him from QB experts. Everything that got talked up about this guy was how quickly he can get rid of the football.
Well, the big thing is, I mean, when you look down how good Pitt quarterbacks have been, Tim's favorite quarterback and who he thinks is the best quarterback in the league, Cust. I mean, maybe he's the template for all
this.
He's
Penn State.
Was he Penn State?
Yeah.
Damn it!
I thought you were going to a Dan Marino joke
or
something there.
Dan Marino as well, yeah.
I ruined that one.
I mean, listen, I'll pick the Chargers every week. Unfortunately, we're not getting points, so I can't add them to a teaser because I don't think we've lost a teaser this year. This would be one that we could lose.
No, Kansas City, I think. With that late touchdown. I think that may have not covered the teaser.
Lost me a big teaser. Thank you.
The last time that Kareem Hunt has scored a touchdown was that touchdown.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
It was funny because that's when you said he was basically the MVP. Since you tweeted that out, no touchdowns.
Where?
The Chargers win. I don't know if they cover. The thing is, I love backup quarterbacks on good teams. Are the Bills a good team?
I mean,
no.
Then no.
If either a good team, they're not a good team in a more distanced or objective sense. But in this AFC, I mean, I guess they are.
I saw Bills players making comments that they were pretty demoralized. So, I don't agree. To both your points or Tim's point, I trust the organization.
I do not.
But I don't know.
I'm taking the Chargers here. I think that defensive line...
But you take the Chargers every week.
They basically cover every week.
Kind of.
I prefer it to be within 3 points, and then they're definitely going to cover. But it's the defensive line versus this offensive line. I think that's the difference in this game. Like, I don't know if Buffalo, again, if they get down by 10, are they really coming back? Probably not. And what if it comes down to a situation where they have to throw like a last-second Hail Mary Buffalo to win this game, and Jay Peterman gets caught on the sidelines reading the most fascinating article about the most fascinating people of the year and doesn't finish in time?
In that situation, the Chargers would commit pass interference in the end zone.
I can't wait to be slotting that Chargers D
Also,
into my lineup.
Also, what's with Bosa after the late hit on Bortles last week? That was really stupid.
I don't know.
That was really stupid.
It happens. And Rivers got annihilated. We got no call. One thing I wanted to say.
He didn't get like
Rivers
German
also took a
suplexed
dive.
after the
One of
play.
One of the great
Don't
gifts
talk.
of the week was Phillip Rivers taking a complete dive when they
Don't
were.
listen
they
to
were,
him. As the Hunter Henry truther here.
What happened to him?
Ken
You sold me on him, and all of a sudden he's terrible.
Ken Wisenhunt needs to die. He needs to go away. He needs to go away. I have it in my text from before this week. To me, he's the problem, and next step is 17. But for right now, Wisenhunt's the problem. They didn't, in all those situations where they could have just gotten a first down and could have ended the game, they just ran for nothing. They couldn't make one pass. They didn't even try it. To me, that's on the coordinator. When Hunter Henry has been targeted more than 3 times, not 5, not 7, not 9, 3. They're 3-1, Pat. Throw him the freaking football.
4 targets the last 2 games.
I'm not wrong about this stuff. I wasn't wrong about Denzel Perryman. When I tell you a guy is good on this team, I'm not sugarcoating it. I wasn't with Perryman, and I'm not with Henry. But you got to throw him the ball.
I think Cardell Jones would.
What?
I think Cardell Jones would.
If Rivers can't play, if that does happen, I would want Cardell. Kellen Clemens is the worst quarterback on the planet.
It would also become a revenge game at that point too.
I would want Cardell if Phillip can't dress. I would.
Or if he gets, like I said, or if he gets hit, because the percussion protocol, right? If he gets hit, the league will keep him out.
He hasn't. I'm confident
he's
he's going to play, but he hasn't cleared protocol yet.
He's going
I
to
think
play.
he will play, but I think there's a non-zero chance he gets one hit and the league makes him sit because they want him for Thanksgiving too. I don't know.
I need to be photoshopped into that family portrait on Thanksgiving.
Someone out there can do that?
That's my goal. Within 10 minutes of that airing at a commercial, I want to be in the picture with Tiffany, Phillip, and the 8 kids.
All right. All right, so I mean, we went past the midway point of the show just because we bled into that Chargers-Buffalo thing pretty organically, and that was the next game up. But we do need to take a quick time out so we can get to Cust Corner.
Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner.
Again, I don't know what kind of search engine optimization that has, but
You still don't even know what that is, do you?
yeah, I know what it is now.
Do you? Because I'm saying it on a show. I'm not Google. You know that, right?
Yeah, but you'll put it into Google. You'll put it into the title.
Will I? I'll just Google that.
You'll put it into the title so that people Google it.
You have no idea how people find things, do you?
I just assume they type things into Google. That's what I do.
No, you don't.
When people tell me I can Google it.
Yeah, people need to tell you you can Google things before you Google them. When you have random questions to stuff you don't do, Googling it never occurs to you.
It should, but it often doesn't.
By often doesn't, you mean never does?
It's not never.
So what do you got for us this week?
Well, I feel like what I have to go... First, I promised a list, so I've got one. And since you retweeted this not once but twice, it's obviously a list you have opinions on. So very quickly, I'm going to go through my list. And
What's
then
it
we can
on?
hash it out. Pardon me?
What's the list about?
It's the list of the spreadable condiments. You clearly have a view on this.
I don't. I don't have a view on it. And just to make this very short, because I don't actually want to talk about this, he has marmalade and molasses as the 2 best spreadable condiments. It's not worth talking about. I don't want to talk about it.
I agree.
Yeah. So move on. Something else.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's what I was planning to talk about.
Well, you don't get a form for that. That's just nonsense.
It's not nonsense.
No,
Okay.
shut up. No, you don't get a form to talk about it. It's nonsense. You can talk about it on Twitter all you want.
And I intend to. Okay. Well, then I suppose since Thanksgiving is coming up, I need to provide the people quickly with a Thanksgiving list of some form. So I've got a list here. Good thing I have a backup plan. I have a list here of the best of the Thanksgiving meal items definitively ranked.
Okay.
And so we can talk about that. I feel pretty confident about this one, and we can sort of hash it out. So number one is stuffing or dressing, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, hold on 1 second. Do you have the list ready to go? Like, do you have it like typed out in front of you?
Yes, I have the whole thing in front of me. Yes.
All right. Can you tweet it out right now?
Tweet it out. Okay. Why is that?
Well, so I want to see what by the end of Cust Corner we'll have some reaction on this. See what people think.
Hold on. I don't have it typed out. I have it written out, but I'll type it as we're going.
Good God.
I have it handwritten in my notes. Sorry.
You tell me when it's up.
Okay. Well, number one is the stuffing or the dressing.
Okay.
That has to be one. You only get it at Thanksgiving, and it's really special. And if it's done right, particularly if it's done in the turkey.
What do you mean you only get stuffing at Thanksgiving?
Or Christmas. Twice a year you get it, I suppose. That's it.
You know you can make it anytime you want.
Yeah, but no one ever does.
That's not true. Anytime that you eat turkey, generally stuffing comes along with it.
Yeah, but people only usually eat turkey twice a year.
Yeah, maybe you only eat turkey twice a year. Any decent occasion, I'll eat some turk.
Okay, well, fine. Number two.
Just because you can't cook a turkey in a microwave may cause that problem.
So number two is cranberries. Cranberries are excellent. Again, it's a side dish you really only ever have with turkey, and it's so it's special, sort of like the official flavor of Thanksgiving if there was one. So I really like cranberries. That's two. Number three is the gravy. Again, I don't get gravy a whole lot throughout the year, but with a big Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner, Thanksgiving goes with. Fourth is turkey dark meat. Dark meat is significantly better than the white meat. It's juicier. It's tastier. It's a rule closer to the bone, which makes it even that much better. So turkey dark meat is 4. White meat is then 5 because you've got to have something. There's a lot of you people like the white meat for whatever reason. I guess you can pile your gravy on it. So the white meat is 5. After that, there's a gap. Then we get into some of the vegetables. The best vegetable are the candied yams if you can have them. Particularly, there are parts in the U.S. that really like the candied yams with the little marshmallows. That's 6. Number 7 is your standard mashed potatoes. You can't go wrong with mashed potatoes. It's the most classic of the side dishes to go with a turkey dinner. After that is squash. Squash is the best gourd vegetable, better than turnip or anything else. So squash is next. After that, there is some room. Some people like to have green bean casserole. I've never been about that. But I like green beans, and I know it's very common in the United States for Thanksgiving. So the green bean casserole is after that. So that's essentially the important part of the list. You can put carrots, your corn, your pies, or whatever, but that's not really a part of the list. So what's DFL? What's the worst thing that you can have with your Thanksgiving dinner? The answer is peas. Peas are disgusting. People like to have them at Thanksgiving. I don't know why. They're gross. There's never been a good pea in the existence of humanity. There never is going to be. Peas are dead last. I am now open for discussion.
I don't even
I'm
care
just
about
bored.
it. I'm bored. This is
nothing.
a single... Don't even tweet this out.
Well, I'm going to anyway.
That was the most boring segment of Cust Corner of all time. No one cares.
Well, actually...
No, stop. You get no more on this. Too boring. You just wasted all of our time.
Well, okay. Fine.
Moving on to the late games. That wasn't even Cust Corner. That was terrible. Do you want to talk about how do you think that people know who Jack Lemmon is these days?
People do know who Jack Lemmon is.
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
They know who Jack Lemmon is. They know who Walter Matthau is.
Walter Matthau more than Jack Lemmon, I would think.
According to Cust,
who? Who would be the barometer? Like what?
No,
age?
Tim is saying that he is. He said young people know about. He said that he was. We have one of our friends who's teaching now in college, and Tim said that if it was my lecture, I would have made a Jack Lemmon joke to the 18-year-olds who were in his class.
Yes, because November 13th is the anniversary of when Felix Unger was kicked out of his house to start The Odd Couple.
That's common knowledge right there. To your average 20-year-old, that's what they know. They know about Jack. And then he tried to bring up, he's like, well, everyone's seen Glengarry Glen Ross, which did like 0 at the box office and came out 26 fucking years ago.
I haven't seen it.
No. Everyone knows that scene, though, with Alex Baldwin.
Yeah, with Alec Baldwin.
But Jack Lemmon is in it.
Sure, he's in the fucking background.
Do you wanna know something?
Jack Lemmon.
Kevin Spacey's in that scene too, but he's been digitally photoshopped out.
This is what you have to realize. Like, the people that know Jack Lemmon, like, would know him from, like, Grumpy Old Men.
Sure. Okay.
Which also came out like 20 years ago.
No, but my point being is, like, what someone who you might... They won't know Jack Lemmon for what you think he should even be known by, if they even know him, is my point.
They even know him from, like you said, Grumpy Old Man from that.
It's like when my wife thinks James Caan is from the TV show Las Vegas.
Oh, you can't be serious.
It happened.
Yes!
I don't know. Sometimes that happens. Yeah.
Oh, heavens. I mean, like, James Caan is quite clearly known as Sonny.
Thank you.
Sure. Here's the thing, Tim. When you
Maybe the
try to say that you're up on popular culture, when you start referencing things that came out 45 years ago, it's a bit tough.
They're still in the popular culture. Like, everyone's seen Bad News Bears.
No,
Everyone
they
knows
haven't. Not everyone has seen Bad News Bears. If anything, more people have seen the remake of Bad News Bears than the original Bad News Bears.
Oh, that's so pathetic.
You're pathetic for fucking thinking this is the thing.
People know who Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau are. Maybe some people don't. I think most people do.
Not a class you would be lecturing
As
to.
was pointed out in our text thread, more people who know who fucking Liz Lemon is than Jack Lemmon at this point.
Like, no one watched that show.
30 Rock?
Yeah, no one watched that show.
More. Okay. So this is gonna be your stance that 30 Rock is less a part of popular culture to people today, and it's probably dated by this point anyway, than Glengarry Glen Ross.
I'm definitely taking that position. Yes.
You are the most out of touch person I've ever met.
No, people know about that Blake character. They know that scene. They don't know about the movie. They've never seen the play. Be sure of that. But they know
There's a
that
hot
scene.
take that people haven't seen Mammoth's play.
No, they haven't. I mean, but
People
they
didn't
do
see
know-
that movie. You understand that, right?
They know that scene. They've seen it on YouTube. You know, they know. Second prize is a set of steak knives. Third prize, you're fired. Like, they know that. Right?
No. Me and you do. There are people that do, but when you start talking about the general public, the answer is no.
Like,
you fucking crazy person.
Off the top of my head, I'm just thinking about the kids that would be working in the pit at, say, like, Fantasy, and none of them would have a clue what he's talking about.
And they're like 26.
None of them would have a
Not
clue.
even 18, 19, and 20.
And that's not a knock on them either. That's just Tim is way off.
Tim
here.
also made reference to the fact that he was throwing out like he was watching like he watched The Odd Couple growing up. Now Tim was born in 1987. When did that show go off the air?
Oh, probably sometime I can effort that. Probably sometime in the 70s.
So like the late 60s, early 70s when it went off the air.
Yeah, but I mean,
Most sane people don't really make a habit on a consistent basis of watching TV shows that came on the air 15 to 20 years before they were born. They
You
just
could be
don't.
wrong. Syndication is a bit of a game changer.
Do people watch things in syndication anymore? The answer is no.
I don't know. Like, if I told you I used to watch, like, MASH, is that weird?
No, I don't think that it's weird, but I think that to think that everyone your age was watching MASH would be super weird.
Yes, fair.
Like, okay, so it ran from 70 to 75. But it was on TV all the time on like channels when we were young in the 90s. Like, I don't expect people to know, like in Bewitched, that there was that Dick Sargent and Dick York both played Darren. Like, I don't expect people to know that. But I do expect people to know, like, all-time great series, which is what The Odd Couple was. It's a top 5 comedy series of all time without question. So people should know about it. Do they have to know about Jack Klugman? Maybe not, but they need to know about the show.
Why do they need to know this?
Do they need to know about the two Aunt Vivians?
Yes. Okay, so that's an even more current reference than the Bewitched.
Yes, it's a very current reference because it happened in 1992.
There were two.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Do you have a brain tumor?
No. But that. Oh.
Put it this way. The only, like, vintage series that people who would be in that... This goes back again to the target audience. 18 to 20-year-olds who are being talked to. The only retro series that they would know would be Friends. That would be it.
Oh, God.
I hate that show.
I hate that show, too, but that's...
So it's so terrible.
But that's not the point. The point is that you know nothing about popular culture, so you wouldn't even know that. Like, amongst today's generation, the younger peoples, they know far more about Friends than they do about Seinfeld, which is really sad.
Oh,
Maybe.
They do. Absolutely. People don't go back and watch Seinfeld anymore. The only people that do are people that have already seen it.
People go back and watch Friends?
Yeah. It's on Netflix.
Seinfeld is... Oh, but yeah, Seinfeld's... I guess they were on Crackle. I don't know.
what's that?
See, there you go. There's a what's that? You know fucking nothing.
I know what's up. And I
You're
know
re-
what people know about The Odd Couple. In fact, I'll tweet that out.
No, they don't. Most of your golf
You know what? More people know about the Matthew Perry Odd Couple show than probably realized
Oh
that
my
it was a
God.
show in the late
That
60s.
That
show
got
was so
canceled.
bad.
It got
I tried
canceled.
to watch that show. It was awful. Because the original movie and the original series, The Odd Couple, is so groundbreakingly hilarious that I thought maybe this remake would do it. And it does do it justice. It's terrible.
Yeah, man.
You know what the most quotable movie is of our times right now that people are just going around, the kids are chirping about? Some Like It Hot. That's where people are at with
That
their...
movie is hilarious. It is. I know you're just making fun of me, but that's a very funny movie.
I'm not saying that it's not a funny movie, Tim. I'm saying it's not fucking culturally relevant in 2000 or 2017.
Okay, so what do we? So should we just then talk about whatever's Instagram?
You're talking about popular culture, and you're talking about telling jokes to people who are and making reference to people that are 18 to, let's say, even 22 years old. So what you're just trying to do is talk over their heads and making sure that they don't understand what you're talking about. Very fucking helpful.
I thought I was making a connection with them in some sort of.
You're not. You're making yourself seem delusional and out of touch, which is on, like, brand for you, but it's not really helping you in any sort of way.
I stand by my position.
It's like Airplane, one of my favorite movies. People don't really get Airplane references anymore. Just a thing.
They probably still get the "and don't call me Shirley" part.
They might, but they probably know it from The Office if they know it from anything.
They probably just know it as a term, but I don't think they might know its origin.
Good God. These people are so out of touch.
It seems to me like you're the one who's out of touch.
No, I'm in touch. I'm plugged in. I'm just not watching everything on my phone
Because you don't know how.
and like Spotifying everything.
You're out of touch because you can't, when you go to places, you can't even get your favorite spreads.
It's true. It's
Like,
very
that's how
true.
out of touch you are, is that you think, like, a normal place will serve you a molasses spread with your toast.
But they will serve me marmalade, and so that's good.
That was
See,
Cust
this
Corner.
end up bringing-
Shut up.
this-
No one cares anymore. This just made me
This
angry.
brought the
This segment's gonna be. Dude, we're gonna get a sponsor for Cust Corner. It's gonna be sponsored by fucking Depends and diabetes medicine.
Smeckler's powder.
Ugh.
Or that blood clot thing with,
Blood clot. Sponsored by Wyclef. Cincinnati at Denver. 2.5 points. Denver is favored at home. Cincinnati came through the covering kids from last week. Covered at Tennessee. It happened. I don't have the highest hopes this week. Denver still has an excellent pass rush. Cincinnati still has a terrible offensive line. Although I don't like this whole Brock Osweiler thing. Paxton Lynch got moved up to second on the depth chart now. So he's not just a healthy scratch anymore.
I don't got a ton to offer here. I think Denver will get off the mat at home. You mentioned their pass rush, the defense, the home field, the altitude. I think this is a team bad enough. Denver's gotten punched around, but they haven't really faced inferior opponents, have they? I mean, other than the Giants, which sort of started their whole swan.
Yeah. What do you think, Tim?
I don't trust Cincinnati to go across the country and win on the road.
How far away is Denver from Cincinnati? It's not like going from
Yeah,
San Francisco to Miami.
That's probably
That's fair. That's fair. It's probably like a 3-hour flight.
Is it?
tops 3 hours.
3 hours? Is it
Tops
really
3 hours.
I
Tops.
don't trust the I've got no reason to trust the Bengals right now. So I mean, I don't have a good.
So you're
strong
making
feeling-
up fake geography to build a case against them?
I'm not building up. I mean, there is a decent enough travel out west. I just don't. I mean,
Out west.
it's a 2 time zone change from Cincinnati to Denver. I don't know. I don't feel strong about it. I just will take Denver. I will say, I put out that poll, and the first thing someone said was, "That's a great Matthew Perry show."
You're going from the Big Ten to the Mountain West. How far is it? It's like
2
and a
hours,
half?
2 hour and 45-minute flight. Where if you fly Frontier Airlines, you can do a one-way trip for $86. It's not bad.
That's incredibly cheap.
Yeah, well, flights are generally pretty cheap if you actually just look in the right places. Tim goes through his ticket agent.
No, he doesn't.
No, I don't do that, but I always buy
he doesn't.
on actual airline websites.
Yeah, he goes to if he was to book through aircanada.com. Because I just booked my flights home for Christmas on the weekend. So
Why, Tim?
I always like to do the comparison. So I went to aircanada.com to select my dates. It was 2 tickets for my wife and I, and it was going to be around $1,800 for the 2 of us to fly on the dates that we wanted to fly. So I went to Porter and checked those out. That was around $1,600. That was on their website. So I just go to the website that I always use. I either use Cheapo Air, I use Momondo, and I got my 2 tickets for $900.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a great app. I don't have it now, but when I was looking for a flight, it just tells you anytime,
Yeah, you just set up the alert.
Yeah, and it gives you
here's the fare
and it
break.
gives you, I don't know, it has his algorithm.
That's ridiculous. My grandma
trust-
didn't do it that way, Geoff.
I trust the airline websites. It's just like I go to the bank to deposit my money. I trust the airlines when I book my flights. I don't like using these fly-by-night websites. Not comfortable with it. It's not for me.
This is the worst take he's ever had.
Well, Tim is someone with a lot of time on his hands, and he can just do these things.
But he's costing himself money.
I know.
And not like $8, like potentially a few $100.
I mean, going to the booking website that I went to fly on the airline that I wanted to fly on saved me $900.
No, man.
That seems aberrational.
No, it's not.
No, I think
As someone-
that's very common.
I fly a lot, so I set up my alerts, and this is what I do.
I don't even know what that means. Set up my alerts.
Early adopter of technology. I go to the bank because I don't trust ATMs.
My 75-year-old dad wouldn't know what that meant either.
Of course. So they should probably be buddies with Cust.
Yeah.
Good team.
That's just like that one guy that's happy when you're seeing last week's or the round before golf coverage. Right? And there's a delay. He's got, no, it doesn't matter. Great shots, world-class players. All that matters.
So who are you taking here, Tim?
I'm going to take the Broncos with 0 confidence.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Broncos, too. The coin is taking the Broncos.
This is our first sweep?
Yeah, no, Washington was the first sweep. This is a stay-away game for me. I just have no feel for it. New England at Oakland. Oakland is a 7-point dog in Mexico with the laser pointers in your eyes and all that fun. Siege brought up to me yesterday that the Patriots stayed in Denver to train in the altitude to get ready to be in Mexico. Oakland has not.
I like Oakland here. This is a super lock consideration game for me.
It
is an inflated number. Oakland, having done this before, they're probably more familiar with this situation going on. Having this game in Mexico. The Patriots, I don't know, man. They've had some cream. Last week was a cream puff. It's time to. I don't know. The Patriots are due for not winning and covering. And I don't mean that as an analysis to get it, but they've sort of been...
Their defense has been a lot better since they were the worst defense of all time.
Much better, but there have also been situations where they've covered where they absolutely shouldn't have, and I just feel this line is inflated.
2 things. One, this was the game last year, Houston at Oakland in Mexico City, which knocked me out of my fantasy playoffs when I was playing Tim, and that DeAndre Hopkins touchdown was not called a touchdown, and that was the end of my season. Just knocked me out of the playoffs.
I even conceded you the matchup before the Monday Nighter.
Yeah. Shocking stuff went wrong for me.
It's a pity.
2,
What a shame.
2, before the season started, and we were going over playoff picks and all this stuff, and we were talking about it, and when Tim picked Oakland to win the Super Bowl, he said this would be the game. This would be the game that would elevate Oakland to that next level and really hammer home that they were going to be favorites. He thought they would clinch the AFC by winning this game against the Patriots. Would you like to revise that pick, Tim?
Yes, 100%. I'm going to move in a 180-degree direction, and I think that the Patriots beat them down.
Are the Patriots immune to the Ender curse?
It's not a curse. They were my super lock last week.
That's what I mean. Are they immune to being cursed?
I think they're a darn good team. I mean, they're not the best team in the league, but they're close. And I don't. I don't think going to Mexico City will in any way derail the Patriots. I think that's a well-behaved team, a well-coached team. I just think in the elevation, Denver's not nearly as high as Mexico City, but that definitely helps.
They're actually training at the Air Force Base, which I do think is above Mexico City sea level.
Really? Okay, fair enough. You know more about it than I do then. I think that New England's got all the little advantages, and I think that Oakland is a untrustworthy team. And so I'm going to take the Patriots minus the 7. 38-27 to be precise.
Oakland really needs this game because they're not done yet either.
I don't know.
No, most certainly they're not done. I mean, but I don't think they're going to get it.
Oakland's been better since Tim jumped off their bandwagon.
Not really.
Well, they have a win, just like
but they also have a loss where they got beaten badly by Buffalo, a team that now owns a tiebreak on them in the playoff hunt. Like, Oakland's in a lot of trouble.
I'm going to take New England in this game, too. I think you're right. When you travel to a new location and you're dealing with some outside elements of just weird random things that can happen, taking the better prepared team, taking the better coach team, and taking the team that has the better players on it generally works out. I mean, it's not that big of a spread for a neutral site game. I mean, as much as you want to call Oakland the home team, are they really the home team? Is there any advantage to them playing in Mexico City?
They're unequivocally the home team. The crowd will, there's no doubt. There's no doubt.
Weren't they shooting laser pointers in Derek Carr's eyes last year?
Maybe, but Chulo Nation loves the Raiders.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it going to be like playing in Oakland?
I think it could be similar.
I remember just from last year's game, it looking like a really hard place to go watch a game. Like
why do you say that?
Like there were barbed wire fences around the stadium and stuff like that. Just doesn't seem like a very fun place to go visit for either team.
That sounds like the Oakland Raiders. That should be their home stadium. There should be barbed wire around the outside. Anyway, me and Cust are on New England. You and the coin are on Oakland, Geoff. Yeah. Sunday nighter, Philly at Dallas. Makes this one's quicks for you. Eagles in a rout. I'm taking Philly.
Yeah. Eagles. This is also this between this and the that last game discussed on my SUPERLOCK debaters right now.
By the way, the Sunday night game. The favorite in that game, I feel like Vegas has taken a hit on this one because you know how we talk about every week that when people lose their money, they just go and smash the favorite in the Sunday nighter. Well, the favorite keeps winning and they keep covering.
Yeah, I guess the Patriot.
Yeah, there was a push 2 weeks ago, but as a rule, you're right. The favorite keeps winning.
It was only a push after the line got bet down, though.
What game are we talking about?
The Dolphins Raiders.
Yeah, because it was 3.5, and then it got bet down to 3.
Nice backdoor push.
Yeah. That sucked.
Also, that backdoor push made people think the Dolphins are decent.
Yeah, it turns out that they weren't.
The books weren't. We all that number's high. The books were not fooled. They're like, no, 9 Carolina. Yeah.
Well, Tim, you think that Philly is the best team in football, and Dallas is not the best team in football. So 4 points doesn't seem like all that much, does it?
Nope, it does not. I like the Eagles. I like the Eagles relatively comfortably.
And Dallas is in a world of hurt right now. They lost the left tackle. And that's a problem. Is
Sean Lee going to be back this week?
It's always an X factor. Didn't he play last week though? Did he get hurt?
I think he got hurt
last week's game.
I always get confused of when he's playing and when he's not. I just always assume he's not playing. Then if he plays, it's like, crap, Sean Lee's playing.
I think, like you guys, and maybe this is very dangerous, I think the Eagles throat stomp him and take pleasure in doing it.
Yeah. I kind of feel the same. The only problem would be Dallas's pass rush has been all right. And I'm still not super confident in that Philly offensive line without Peters. That'd be my only worry.
Agreed.
But now they have
off a bye, right?
Off a bye. Now they have the time to work in Jay Ajayi into their system. Maybe their running game can be a little bit better. But I don't know.
He's never going to play.
What's that?
McFadden just never going to play? Is that it for him?
He's third on the depth chart.
Well, okay. And I was big on McFadden, picking him up for fantasy-wise. And I mentioned this to Celia on Tuesday. What was the point of keeping Darren McFadden all this time then?
I don't know.
Cowboys?
Yeah.
That is the craziest question. I've seen a lot of people, maybe Leviton and other people pointed out, people that examine rosters and such, Sharp Football. He's their fourth freaking running back. When you consider, when Zeke was there, he's RB4.
Yeah, but I always sort of made the
RB4 that does, you don't see him on, kick units and shit.
No, and that.
So he's useless.
But the big thing was, I thought they were keeping McFadden around in case Zeke got suspended. Then he'd be healthy. He could come in, and Rod Smith is playing on special teams. Alfred Morris is sort of a between the tackles guy. He was going to be used in passing situations anyway. So you just have this fresh Darren McFadden to come in, and boom, you drop off, but not to the extent that they looked last week against Atlanta. But just what's the point of paying this guy?
I wonder why. Like you, I wondered why he's kept the roster spot.
Because he's a Razorback.
I guess so. I don't know.
It doesn't make sense to me. That's why I asked.
And plus, they're still without their best player, Dan Bailey.
It's true. Mike Nugent stepping up and in.
Who is terrible. I know Mike Nugent. The Jets drafted him in the second round after Doug Bryan missed 2 easy field goals to win us a playoff game against Pittsburgh. I hate Mike Nugent.
This guy going on a rant about missed field goals in playoff games? Yeah. He's got it worse than me, though.
Yeah, he does. The league screwed those field goals.
I never said it had it worse than you, but in that particular game, we lost the playoff game because Doug Bryan couldn't make field goals.
So, round of Philly, coin included. Monday night game.
This one's also easy.
You think this one's easy? I don't. I actually think Atlanta might win this game.
I don't. I think Seattle is... They're at home, right, Seattle?
Yeah, it's Atlanta at Seattle. 2.5 is the spread.
This is easy.
Line.
This is easy. I'll tell you.
Atlanta
beat up. I liked Atlanta last week.
So did
a
I.
lot. But in the end, they looked really good because that Dallas team was incredibly depleted in some key spots. This Atlanta team, the Seattle team on Monday night, I believe we're getting the more important. Sherman's gone, but the more important player's coming back at safety, I believe. And I believe this team is going to want to make a statement. I think Sherman's absence is so overrated as well.
I don't think so. Not in this specific spot.
In this game or overall? Because I don't think Sherman's a fraction of the player he was 2.5 years ago. He's a replaceable player at this point in his career.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Listen, Earl Thomas is a much better player. Earl Thomas
is not replaceable.
Is not replaceable, and he means more to this defense and making this defense good. But this defense almost needs all of them to be lights out. And once you take Sherman out of that situation, now you got a Julio Jones problem. Like, big time. They had a Julio Jones problem last year in this game when they may have got screwed out of a win in Seattle, if anyone remembers that game.
Yep.
On that non-pass interference call.
I think this is a game. I think we just see a Seattle team.
Atlanta needs this game.
They needed last game, and that's why I like them.
As we talked about earlier, like, who's hunting down Seattle? Green Bay? Detroit?
No, but Seattle wants that division.
They can probably still get. We talked about the Rams.
Yeah, they still have
schedule.
the other head-to-head too with the Rams, so the division is still.
This is a losable game for them.
Okay, this is how I put it.
And then we'll see all the stories Tuesday morning about how important Richard Sherman actually is, whether or not that's true. But that's how this narrative ends up going.
Well, I guess the only thing I don't know.
Going like Seattle, by the way.
I'll say this: just as how I like really good teams when the quarterback goes out for the one game. I would argue with the talent on that Seattle defense, this is a very
galvanizing spot.
Galvanizing spot on Monday night. We'll show everybody how good we'll be without this guy. I like Seattle here. Just like I feel Tim made a comment earlier, how he felt that mini line was at least a half point short. There's no doubt in my mind this line is at least a half point short.
This game is not -2.5 when it comes Monday night. It's at least 3.
I would agree, but for the purposes of this, and even on the 3, a clean 3, I'll still say Seattle would be my pick.
And you're going Seattle as well?
Hawks win.
It's funny because you don't like Seattle.
No, not one bit. But this Atlanta team has not earned my trust yet. And I certainly don't agree with the books that Atlanta's a better team, which is what this line says.
And again, this line, I think everyone is so fixated on seeing them demolish the Cowboys and be in the backfield.
Oh, no. I don't think that at all. I think that people are very skeptical. But if you want
Seattle also with extra rest here.
If you want to put in a trust factor with these two teams this year and the public perception of them, people trust Seattle far more than they trust Atlanta. Far more. And it's Seattle at home, which gives Seattle a pass always.
If Dallas beats Atlanta last week in a 1-point game, what's the spread here?
4.
The
no Freeman, by the way, for Atlanta.
I like the other guy
which
better.
is a real problem.
I mean, Coleman's not as good, but they'll mix and match like they do. It's not like Freeman's been super effective on the ground this year anyway.
I don't know. The line smells, but I don't care.
Like, people saw the buddy on Atlanta get 6 sacks last week and them just be in the backfield all game because Dallas lost their left tackle. If anything, I'd argue the extra time, Dwayne Brown will be that much more comfortable to play this role.
Let's not go pretend like Dwayne Brown's going to solve their problems on the
Absolutely
offensive
not.
line.
Absolutely not. I don't know. I'll tell you what. The 4 o'clock slate has me much more excited for the Sunday of games that Tim spoke about than the early games we went through.
Yeah, Bengals, Broncos, man. Like, strap yourself in and feel the G's.
Whatever. If that's your bad game, you've got a pretty darn good week of football.
I like Atlanta. I think Atlanta wins on the field.
Okay.
That'd be a huge win for them.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be a devastating loss for Seattle either. Like,
if Atlanta wins this game, I'm curious who they play the week after, and I'm curious the advance line on that game because, like you said, the public perception on Atlanta would again do a complete 180
Sure, absolutely.
if they beat Seattle on Monday night on the road.
And the fact that Tim has been picking against Seattle every single week, and now he's in on Seattle, just that's real tricky to me.
They play the Buccaneers next week at home.
Atlanta does?
Yes.
Who do they?
That'll be like Falcons by 10 if the Falcons win.
But that was going to be Falcons by 10 either way. Although the Buccaneers' strength of schedule after beating the should-be 9-1 Jets is probably pretty high now.
You know, we can just not talk about the Jets. It's too painful.
So Atlanta, much like the Rams, has a real tough schedule here. They go Seahawks, Bucks, Vikings, Saints, Bucks, Saints, Panthers. So they need to steal one of these games if they're going to be in it, and this could be the game.
It's amazing how late in the year Atlanta started playing their division games.
Yeah, it's the opposite of the Jets.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas like Buffalo has only played New England's only played one divisional game all year. It's the same as Atlanta.
Has Buffalo played Miami yet?
Nope, they play weeks 15 and 17.
New England's only played one division game, which means their record is going to be amazing
by
the time the season is over.
All right, those are the games. Let's get to the SUPERLOCK. I'm real iffy, and I mean, I should be good at this. I'm 7-3 with my SUPERLOCKs this year. A good rebound SUPERLOCK season for me after a crappy. I mean, it's gonna be. I don't want to say it's gonna be tough for me to finish under 500, but you know, it could happen. I'm 7-3. Jeff, you're 3-7 on the SUPERLOCKs. Cust is 6-4. Him and I both hit last week. I had Tampa. He had New England. You had Buffalo. Probably the wrong play. So let's start with you.
Epic miscalculation. Philly.
Philly?
Yeah.
Philly -4 on the road in Dallas. SUPERLOCK for Jeff. Tim, what's your SUPERLOCK?
Green Bay +2 against the Ravens at home.
Tim hasn't made any teaser picks.
Oh, we'll get to that. I'm really torn on this. The teams that I really like this week, I like Chicago. I'm not going to take Jacksonville, but I just think betting against Cleveland is such a smart idea. Houston intrigues me because Arizona's ATS record is just awful. Pittsburgh on the Thursday nighter impresses me a lot. The one I'm leaning the most towards, it was actually Philly as well.
I could use your help.
New England against Oakland, I do really like a lot too, but it's this Washington-New Orleans game or the Rams-Minnesota game. Like, I feel very strongly that Washington can go in
every game.
I'm feeling good this week about my picks, but not one of them really stands out above the others. Like, I see the risk and the downside. To, like, if you take the Bears +3, the Bears could score 3 points. Like,
yes.
There's that.
You could just use last week's strategy and just take the opposite of the game Tim is most confident in.
Yet somehow, Tim, the game Tim is most confident in rarely turns out to be a SUPERLOCK somehow.
That's true, too. Oh, you're up. I'll be tailing it, so make it
You know what? Screw it. I'm taking Philly -4 too.
I need that.
I think they're so much better than Dallas, and now I'm going to feel like such a fucking moron when it goes the other way. Anyway, so you and I are both on Philly. Green Bay +2. That's so weird. Tim, do you got a free money teaser for us? It's going to lose again. You're up to 2-8 on the season.
Yeah, should be 3-7, but I'm a fool, so it's 2-8. This week it's a free money line parlay. Actually, it's not a teaser.
Okay, money line parlay. Let's hear it.
It's
Green Bay.
It's a 5-teamer, and it's greedy, but whatever, I like it. So Seattle, we'll reverse engineer it. So Seattle, Philadelphia.
Can you give us the lines on these teams too?
He said money line.
Yeah, what are the lines? So Seattle's minus what?
150 maybe, 140.
Okay, I'll do that. You give us Seattle, and I'll try to pull up the app here, and I'll figure out what these lines are.
Okay, so the first one is the Seattle Seahawks on Monday night.
Okay, the Seahawks are even money. No, that's on the spread. Sorry.
No, I've got it. It's minus 145 for the Seahawks.
Okay.
Then the next one is the Eagles, minus 192.
Okay.
The next one is the Patriots, minus 315.
Okay.
The next one is the Packers at plus 105.
Okay.
And we're gonna round it out with the Cardinals at even money. So that is Seattle, Philadelphia, New England, Green Bay, Arizona. Connect those 5 to win. Bet a farm, win multiple farms.
11 to 1 would be
Win 11 farms. This would make up for all my free money going wrong, folks. Tail with me. You're making money if you're betting with me this year. Believe with me. Let's roll.
When you get to Monday, do you hedge?
You have to.
So it's no longer
yeah.
11
So
to 1.
this no longer wins all your money back if that's the case.
You have to consider it anyway.
Yeah, of course.
You have to certainly consider it. It's a good debate to have.
Wouldn't you just
Also, did you just say people are winning money if they're betting along with you this year?
if they
Yeah.
win, if this
No,
wins,
they're not.
If this wins.
Oh,
I
if this
think
wins.
this is what
Oh,
he
if
was
if
implying.
yes, if this
If
wins.
the 11 to 1 hits,
Oh.
it changes everything.
Man, I don't even. It might bring you back to even.
No,
Plus,
because
being 3 over 500. And just
Yeah,
regular
if you're 3 games over 500 betting spreads, Tim, you're losing money. You understand that, right? You don't, do you?
Well, but many of my games you were getting a little, you weren't actually paying a vig to take.
On almost every game, you're paying a vig betting the spread.
Wouldn't my thought gambling wise would be like to cut this off after the Eagle game and then just bet your winnings on the Monday game.
No, that's not greedy enough, Geoff.
Okay, fair enough.
That's not going to get you back to even for the year.
Free money, 11 to 1 parlay. Can't lose.
Which one do you think loses it for him?
Oh, Green Bay.
First.
Green Bay.
Yeah, I guess
It's
Green Bay.
first game out of the chute? Yeah, Green Bay. Or Arizona.
Yeah.
So, now, see, there's the parlay to make. Well, let's see if we can give Pat's parlay of the week. Pat's parlay of the week is going to be...
Stealing my bit.
No, yeah, but I'm actually going to give you a winner just by betting against you. Let's play a Houston. What's Houston on the money line? Minus 120? Well, screw that. I'll take the spread that's minus 115. So Houston minus 1 and Baltimore money line pays 2.5 to 1. There's a winner for you. I'm going to bet that right now. Let's put $20 on that.
Set your money on fire. That can't win.
That can't win. That's what I like to hear. There. Risk $20, return $67.30. There, see, that's an actual winner, Tim. There you go.
You can't see my face, but I'm making a very angry face right now.
Did you copy it off an emoji?
Are you sure that troll that doll you have?
Oh, Tim Trollercust?
Oh, where you found that?
I found it on timtrollercust.com.
You said that, and I tried that website out, and it's not a real website.
Did you really try that website out?
I did. You had a link to it, so I tried it out.
He rules.
By a link to it, I wrote .com after something. He's a troll man. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
He's such a mark, eh?
Oh, yeah. I feel like in a different lifetime, he would be the biggest wrestling fan in the world and really think it's real.
Like the president.
Yeah, like the president. You and Trump share so many similarities, like when he was demanding credit this week from the UCLA players. You demand credit more than anyone. It's just you and Trump.
He got it, too.
Good for him.
And then he said, "You're welcome." And now you should thank the Chinese president.
Let's see. Doesn't this sound like stuff you would say?
No, I don't think so.
One thing before we get out of here. This is late in the show, so I can probably say this now. Tim, after all this Roy Moore news came out, you might want to cancel your mall walks.
Oh, boy. What a terrible story that is. Jeez Louise. And all those people who are out there defending him, you people are gross. That guy's just absolutely the scum of the earth. If you're willing to vote and defend for that, I'm sorry. Listen, I'm as conservative as they come, and I think that it's almost always better to have a Republican than a Democrat in major offices. I would vote for the Democrat 1,000 times out of 1,000 before I would vote for that guy. Man, oh man, oh man, what a slime ball.
The best thing I heard, or the joke I heard, I don't even know where it was, maybe SNL, but like, he's a grown-ass man that dresses like Woody from Toy Story. It's creepy.
And like yesterday, he was trying to say, "Oh well, let's have the yearbook officially seen by a neutral third party to see who actually signed it." Like, we just don't hit rock bottom.
Now, when you and your mall cadre get together, do you ever see these people around the mall and like rat them out to mall security?
I don't think I've ever. I mean, I'm not always the most perceptive person.
No,
so
I don't believe that for a minute.
You
I'm
and
not always noticing what's going on around me, but I'm sure people who spend more time in malls than me have. I mean, I used to work at a mall, and I'm sure I have seen a fair share of people who are sketchy, but like, we're men. We don't notice other people being sketchy in a way that women would notice.
The crazy thing is, Tim's mall walks, it's like those are the people that tell him his spreadable toppings list is good.
Oh yeah, this is his audience, his sounding board.
Molasses and the marmalade. These are the only people, so they must glad hand you.
Do you know what the biggest thing is? And Tim did used to work at a mall, and he once got like robbed once, and then he had to go to a healing circle as a part of the punishment.
That did happen. That was the worst.
You got robbed and you
like,
got punished.
And they're all like, "Oh well, what punishment and restitution do you?" And I was like, "Jail time." I was like, "Oh, it was the worst."
Well, that was the week 11 show. Sorry we went a bit long, but we had to make up for Monday's show in that terms of nonsense. Thank you to Geoff Fienberg for being here, and always thank you to Tim and Cust.
Tim and Cust.
That is not my name.
Top Cust.
People do call me Top Cat.
No, they don't. I've been seeing that they've been compromising and calling you Top Cust.
I haven't seen that. I'm gonna have to work on a different list for next week. These two fell flat. I'm annoyed.
You may have jumped the shark on lists.
No, I don't think so. Because people really were fired up for my pickle list last night.
Well, it was the first one they ever agreed with.
So I'll have to concoct another one for next week. I'll have to work on it a little more.
You really bored the fuck out of me. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, well, but then you yelled at me about, and again, multiple people on that tweet that I sent out about The Odd Couple have said, yeah, this is Matthew Perry's best show after Friends, blah, blah, blah. It's very annoying. 2 people have said that who have commented. One is Drew, who's just a troll. But the other one...
But he also loves Matthew Perry.
Yeah, Drew does love Matthew Perry. That's
like,
true.
If there's anyone that's watched every Matthew Perry spin-off since Friends that lasted like 6 episodes, I could think of like 4 of them, at least 3 of them.
The funniest was I had Drew on my show when I was at Fantasy. And that's when he said, I think he said it to Tim, that Friends was better than Seinfeld, and I mocked him. And then Morency heard about it and then made Drew go on his show just so Gabe could yell at him for 10 straight minutes about how big of a loser he is.
That happened, and then Gabe brought me on to that show to help him berate Drew.
I miss Drew, but again,
I miss Drew too.
He's Richard Gere's favorite actor. He's never seen Primal Fear.
I know.
That's all you need to. That's all you need to know about Drew.
Nothing was better than the day that I was in the office and Drew asked Gabe, "What did Tennessee have to give up to Houston to trade for Eddie George?"
That's a fabulous question.
Morency almost lost it. He threw him across the room. He was so angry at that question.
I love that. I'm gonna use that.
You're just gonna start throwing that out to people?
Yeah.
All right, that'll do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. You follow Geoff at GFienberg17. Follow Cust at Tim Andercust. You can follow me at the PME on Twitter. Remember, subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience for the audio versions, always on demand, always uncut, and always probably way too long on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play for the video versions up on the Draftkings YouTube page. That'll do it. I'm Pat Mayo. Good luck in week 11. I'll see you next time.